Welcome back to another Mygm WWE 2K24, and what a great pay-per-view we just had. Absolute $0 in the budget, but we're able to deliver with the rivalries and turn around some funds. So we start this road to Fastlane with 120k in the budget, and we obviously got some new rivalries that we need to build leading up to this next pay-per-view. MVP wants a tag championship in the next 3 weeks. We've got the former tag team champions wanting to split up and take a solo run, and we need a new challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. So before we get started, I want to say once again, I appreciate all the support, all the likes, all the subscriptions. It does help the channel grow. So once again, thank you. But now, let's get into this episode. Our road to Fastlane. It's going to be epic. A lot of fresh rivalries to create. So let's not waste time. Let's get into it. Hope you enjoy. We're in week 1 of Road to Fastlane. We've got to have a good opening Raw here. So we'll go with potentially our World Heavyweight Championship rivalry we want to create. So obviously Seth Rollins is a specialist. And we've got Logan Paul, who is a fighter and a heel. They both have the energy to be able to withstand some matches leading up to Fastlane, as well as potentially going into a specialist match at the pay-per-view. So that's what we're going to go with the opener. Josie Jane obviously wants to start her solo career, so we will give her a match against one of the champions in Scarlett. We've obviously got Rhea Ripley that needs a challenger coming up in the next pay-per-view, which will be Alba Fire. Their rivalry is building nicely. It is on level 3 at the moment. Carl Anderson's also in there. Now we're looking at potentially needing to change him over to a heel, being that we're not really looking at pushing them for the tag team championship leading up into this pay-per-view. We've got MVP that wants a title match coming up, so we're going to have to definitely give him one. I think we'll go with Shinsuke Nakamura as his tag partner, as we do have Logan Paul going for the World Heavyweight title. And that's going to be against Chad Gable and Otis. So Carl Anderson will get a heel change. We've got to also think of who's going to go up against Adrian Buck for the US Championship. We could go with the Bron Breakker one, but that rivalry is on cooldown. So we do need to look at potentially getting him someone else to kind of start building up that rivalry. Duke Hudson is potentially up there as well. He does have 70 popularity at the moment, so a little bit higher than the champion. So we might look at potentially bringing him into a couple of matches. You know what, let's throw a Fatal 4-Way to kick it off. Got Duke Hudson, Bron Breakker, Adrian Buck. And we might even go with Chad Gable to open it up as well, because he's got a bit of popularity with the Tag Team Championship, and that could be our main event for that one. Or we potentially do a Fatal 4-Way with the women's division. And we've got Rhea Ripley, Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, and Maxine Dupree. That might be an option there. We'll change Luke Gallows over in the Fatal 4-Way, so bring Otis out. He's a bruiser, so he does go up well against the fighters in that match. And we might put the call out here of Duke Hudson and Carl Anderson, being that Carl Anderson's going to switch over to heel. So we could start a bit of a rivalry there between those two. We'll obviously put the women as the main event, being that they have a little bit more popularity than the men in this one. And do we use up some stamina in the opener, or do we just back our normal match there with Seth Rollins and Logan Paul? A few things to consider. I think that's a pretty decent card there. We've got the call out happening, so I think we rock with that one. We won't spend too much money, only 21,000. Let's see how this opener goes. Seth Rollins gets the win. Rivalry is level 1, but it's a mediocre match, so not ideal. We get level 1 on the rivalry between MVP, Shinsuke, and the tag champions. Scarlett wins this match, only mediocre, but we do get a level 1 rivalry out of that one. Carl Anderson does switch over to a heel. And now we've got the Fatal 4-Way. Chad Gable picks up this win. It's only a disappointment in that match. That's a bit of a shocker. I'm glad I moved that to a mid-card, not the main event. And then Isla Dawn does pick up the Fatal 4-Way in the main event. So overall, not a bad booking. Probably wanted a little bit better than that in the sense for our opener. I think our mid-card really let us down. We had a Fatal 4-Way that was a disappointment. So overall disappointing on that one, that's for sure. Looking at our rivals, they had decent matches. We got 35,000 fans in that week 1, 67 for SmackDown, double almost what we achieved, 55 for NXT, and then 41 for WCW. So not the start we wanted, that's for sure, to start this road to Fastlane. We're still currently sitting in 3rd place. It's not terrible, but we're going to very quickly slip down the ranks if we continue with this. We've got Maxine Dupree talking about her rivalry potentially with Josie Jane. We've got to upgrade Alba Fire's contract, being that we do have her in a rivalry with Rhea Ripley at the moment. And then we've also got Scarlett wanting a bit of competition leading up into this next Raw. Morale's gone up on Maxine Dupree. Obviously that's split from Josie Jane. They both want a solo run, so that's working for morale. And Scarlett here, coming off some of the momentum she's had, really wants a triple threat or a Fatal 4-Way match this Raw coming up. So we'll look at giving her at least that in the upcoming Raw show. Morale is obviously at an all-time high there. We've got to give a tag team championship match to MVP in the next 2 weeks as well. And our budget at the moment is 119. So we haven't really moved much on the budget side of things. And that is obviously increasing Alba Fire's contract as well. Now we'll give Scarlett her triple threat or Fatal 4-Way in the mid-card. And I think that will be against Mygm, Maxine Dupree, Scarlett, and potentially we could go Alba Fire on that one. The opener is definitely going to have to be Seth Rollins, Logan Paul. It was an okay starter, but the rivalry did pick up, so that should obviously boost us in that opener. We could go Fatal 4-Way here. It's potentially an option, but Duke Hudson is only on 38 for energy and he could potentially get injured, so we might switch that over to a triple threat. And we might select Otis. We'll go Otis in that one in a triple threat. Got to do the call out here obviously start a bit of a rivalry with the US champion. I think that might be a good opportunity for Luke Gallows to get involved. So we will change him over to a heel. We have changed over Carl Anderson last week. So now we'll do Luke Gallows, and then he'll go up against Adrian Buck for the US title. So that's the kind of plan I've got with that one. Obviously got the tag team that I've got to continue that rivalry building. Shinsuke, MVP, Chad Gable and Otis. But we do have Otis in a match at the moment. So I will switch that up and bring in Bron Breakker as that triple threat for the opener, which I think, not a bad opener on card there. Logan Paul, Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins opening your show in a triple threat match. We'll continue the rivalry with Duke Hudson and Carl Anderson. So that's also in there. And potentially what we might do is do a fatal 4-way for that US championship. So we can then potentially, use 2 rivalries in the one match for that one. Let's get into this round of matches for week 2. Bron Breakker does win the first match. Rivalry does move to level 2 with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. The mid card, the fatal 4-way. Isla Dawn does pick up that match, and her rivalry with Dupree is picking up as well. We do get the rivalry kicked off with Adrian Buck and Luke Gallows. Duke Hudson and Anderson do have a mediocre match, but their rivalry continues. And then we got the tag team match in the main event. Shinsuke and MVP do win this one. So that's a great match there. Rivalry goes to level 2 and will potentially give them a title match next week on Raw, if not the following week. Another okay booking. Obviously our main event was the standout. We got 41,000 fans on this one. SmackDown 47, so not too far behind them. 42 for NXT. And then 45 for WCW. So we might still be in 3rd place going into week 3 of this road to Fastlane. We obviously pick up 2 power cards as well. And yes, we are still currently sitting in 3rd place. About 60,000 fans away from 2nd. So not a fantastic position, but there's a long road left in the season. And we could finish this season on a high, that's for sure. Now I've just realised that I've made a mistake and done the tag team titles on the line in that main event, and I didn't spectate it. So we do have new champions with MVP and Shinsuke Nakamura. So apologies on that one, but we will obviously look at using those that rivalry in the pay-per-view. So Chad Gable and Otis will have an opportunity to reclaim those titles back from Shinsuke and MVP. So he's happy. We obviously gave him his title shot. Was planning to do it this week, but I must have flicked it over to a title match without really realising, so apologies on that one. But we will get into week 3 here. And we've got the opener. We've got rivalry at level 2 between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. But we do need to do a Hell in a Cell match at some point through this. So do we make that a Hell in a Cell match for the main event? I don't think I want to use the World Heavyweight title on the line in that one. So I might actually do Hell in a Cell. Do I do it? No, you know what? I'm going to change that to a fatal 4-way for the US title. I think that should be our main event here. So Adrian Buck is going to defend his title here on Raw in the main event. And that is going to be obviously Luke Gallows. He's got a level 1 rivalry with him. And as I mentioned in the last week episode, Carl Anderson and Duke Hudson also have a bit of a rivalry happening at the moment. So we'll double it up on that one, do a Hell in a Cell match, and put the US title on the line. So that should be a blockbuster main event. We've just got to make sure that we have a cracking opener as well. So we'll do a fatal 4-way in the opener, and that's going to be the Rhea Ripley, Maxine Dupree, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn. We've got the tag team match in the mid card, and that will be obviously the lead up to that next tag team title match. And then lastly, in the mid card, we might go Scarlett and Josie Jane, rest Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, just do a bit of a call out there, and do a charity match or charity promo. So he's got the call out from Seth Rollins. Actually, we might switch that up and do a self promo for Logan Paul, and then have Bron Breakker or Mitchin do the charity from there. Now I think we're all set now for the card here. Opener is a fatal 4-way, and we've got the tag match in the middle. Scarlett and Josie Jane also in the middle, and then that fatal 4-way Hell in a Cell for the US title, and we'll make sure we spectate it this time around. Maxine Dupree does pick up the win there in an okay fatal 4-way match. The rivalry moves to level 3 between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. MVP and Shinsuke win this tag match, moving it to level 3. What do we got here? Scarlett picks up the win against Josie Jane. Mediocre match, but it does move to level 2. We pick up 6,000 fans with Bron Breakker's promo. And then the Hell in a Cell for the US title. This should be a good match. You got Luke Gallows plus Carl Anderson both in this match. Both got their rivalry with Duke Hudson and Adrian Buck. I think we're going to have an absolute cracker of a match here. Can the rookie Adrian Buck fight off 3 vets? Carl Anderson had his trouble with Duke Hudson so far this run for Fastlane. He's also got to compete against his tag team partner, Luke Gallows. Last time Duke Hudson had a title match, he got absolutely destroyed by Bron Breakker at Hell in a Cell. So he also is looking to redeem himself. And there's the young champion, the new United States champion, Adrian Buck. Joined us, popularity very low, but he had the energy to potentially compete, and he's slowly moving up the ranks. And that's what's on the line. United States Championship. Hell in a Cell on Raw. I don't think we've ever seen one. Not in my recent memory. Let's kick it off. Thrown into the corner by Duke Hudson. But Adrian Buck does come across. It's the challenge when you're in a fatal 4-way. You definitely got to watch your back. Big man Luke Gallows with a big boot to the face of the champion. Tossed out of the ring. Luke Gallows is split open, and a nice powerbomb there by Duke Hudson. Going in for the 3 count. 1. Oof, kicked out by Carl Anderson. Big uppercut there by Luke Gallows on the champ. Luke Gallows has the champ up in the air. Drops him. Going in for the 3 count. New champ. 1, 2. Oh, kick out by Adrian Buck. Oh, Carl Anderson tossed from inside the ring. That would have hurt. Luke Gallows comes across. Got Duke Hudson up, but he is fighting back. Spinebuster there by Carl Anderson. Going for the pin. 1, 2. Oh, kick out by Duke Hudson. It looks like Adrian Buck has also tossed Luke Gallows out. And what a move there by Carl Anderson on the champ. 1, 2, 3. And we've got our new champion to end Raw, Carl Anderson. Take a bow. Cleared the ring of the other guys. And then absolutely smashes the champion's face into the mat. And your new United States champion in a classic match. Buck and Gallows rivalry does go to level 2 as well. But what a way to finish Raw there. That's finishing it with a bang, that's for sure. Hudson and Anderson's rivalry goes to level 4 as well. So that's all prime, ready to go for the next pay-per-view in Fastlane. So a pretty decent opener of 2.5. But that main event is probably what's going to really win it for us in this one. We're really going up against NXT on the ratings in this time round. Now let's look at how we fared. 48,000 fans, almost 49, so not bad. 41 for SmackDown, 57 for NXT. They absolutely destroyed us by another 10,000, and 49 for WCW. We do pick up another power card as well, being that we did run that Hell in a Cell, and we currently still sit in 3rd place ahead of WCW. So still, not in a terrible position, that's for sure. We're 1 week out from the PLE, and Mygm wants her contract renewed. Obviously Triple H has got something to say as well. Do we want to renew Mygm? We really haven't used her. Does she want to take a pay cut? And I think we just let her go, unfortunately. She didn't want to take a pay cut, and it's not like we've used much of her. Now, do we rest Maxine Dupree or Shinsuke? I think we give Shinsuke a break. And then that way, we have him all ready for that pay-per-view. He wants a match with Otis, but he will have to wait a week for that one, being that he is going to be resting to get that energy back. We obviously have Carl Anderson, the new champion. We didn't use much of him early on in the season, but he's at 70 popularity at the moment. Now he's our new US champion, and he wants a 50k bonus, which at the moment we're at 198k. So I think, keep him happy. It's probably something we're just going to have to do here, being that he is our new US champion. So we'll keep his morale up going into the pay-per-view on that one. So obviously going to have to rest Shinsuke, but we've got 3 weeks to give him a match against Otis, so that's not bad. Contract expires with Mygm, so we'll probably just use her in some type of promo coming up in this week. But we do have 137k sitting in the bank, so we definitely can look at potentially scouting someone in, or upgrades is another thing we can look at. But let's get into the matches here. We've got the opener, got to start strong as always. Do we go Duke Hudson? Do we go Carl Anderson? Do we go with the women's championship that we potentially might be having? Obviously we've got Rhea Ripley and Alba Fyre, that both level 4 rivalry, ready to go for the pay-per-view. Got the tag match as well that we can look at doing. So there's a few options we can look at potentially doing here in that opener to start the show. But I think, let's go with Alba Fyre and Rhea Ripley, the women's division. Then we'll look at potentially, finishing strong potentially with the World Heavyweight Championship rivalry of Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. We obviously have cancelled the contract of Mygm to pick up some extra funds, being, we only have 1 week left and we weren't going to potentially use it for anything. I could have used it for advertisement to try and get a little bit extra money. That could have been a potential option. But I thought, let's just release her and go from there. We've got Luke Gallows and Adrian Buck. Obviously that rivalry we're going to use in the mid-card. not keen on the women's tag team. I think that rivalry's in cooldown mode at the moment, so we will look at removing that one. We'll do a bit of a call out there with Maxine Dupree and Isla Dawn, being that their rivalry is building and they potentially can have a singles match coming up, and that's the same with Scarlett and Josie Jane. Now we'll do a call out with Logan Paul for Seth Rollins to keep the energy there for Logan Paul, but we will put Seth Rollins in a match against Carl Anderson. So the main event will be champion v champion. We won't put any titles on the line, but that's going to be the main event. And then we've got Bron Breakker, MVP, tagging up against the team of Otis and Chad Gable, being that we have rested Shinsuke for this week. So haven't spent a lot of money, it's only $9,000, so not too bad. So let's sim the first one, and Rhea Ripley does pick up the win in a good opener match. Rivalry moves to level 3 between Isla Dawn and Maxine Dupree. Luke Gallows picks up the win. That rivalry moves to level 3. Bron Breakker and MVP win that one in an okay match. And then we've got Seth Rollins picking up the win in an okay main event. So not fantastic, but not terrible as well. Where really we're just trying to save a little bit of funds going into the pay-per-view. That's where we're going to get our bang for our buck, where we're going to potentially, win those fans over. So we go out of this one with 37,000 fans, 40 for SmackDown. NXT sitting on 30, so we absolutely destroyed them for once on that one, and 47,000 for WCW. We do pick up another power card, but we do drop to 4th place because WCW had a fantastic showing in that final match. So that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Next one is going to be the main event, PLE Fastlane. Catch you on that one.